Davis. DC Davis.
Given a perfect world, with a perfect police station and a perfect criminal investigation department, I have to be honest, no, you wouldn't be in it.
Still living in Diggs?
Yeah, and still waiting for the divorce to come through. That was her just now, Julie.
But you can't have him for the weekend.
I thought she had custody of the dog.
Nice to know someone loves you.
All right, bud. Not bad. Yeah?
I've got myself a murder.
They've given you a murder?
No, they didn't give it to me. I sort of appropriated it.
Celia Norris. 1982? Blimey, Dangerous. What's all this about?
Ray Yardley. One of yours. I didn't mean to kill her.
How many coppers have heard that, eh, Raymond?
The last detective, that's what you are, Dangerous. The last detective I'll ever think of. Unless it's the crap jobs. Then you'll be the first.
You still here?
Yeah, still here.
Didn't anyone tell you?
Tell me what?
We called it off 4 hours ago.
No, nobody told me.
And you've been sitting here all this time. Poor old Dangerous.
The usual, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. It's better.
Here you are, then. I've been looking for you.
Yes, here I am. What are you going to have, as if I didn't know?
Fizzy water, please, Anthony. Have you heard anything yet? Just yes or no?
Look, Sheila, I know where this is going, so to save time, mind your own business.
I'm worried about you. We're all worried about you.
Well, I'm not, you see, Sheila. Not a bit.
She's worried. Believe me, she's worried.
Let's get moving! Come on!
George is just coming. Come on, George!
What's all this then?
There's nothing for you to worry about, Dangerous. I'll tell you what, though. We got that dodgy postman downstairs. This lot was under his bed. Sort it out for us, will you, Dangerous? You know the sort of thing, nice little piles, postal orders, driving licenses. Oh, and then make a list. Cheers.
I don't care who he shagged. He wrote a bloody good essay. I take it you're having a bad day?
So far, I've had a wonderful day. In fact, it's been so good, I wish I had on video so I could do it all again.
Do you want some advice? Take your pension, go somewhere where the earth is flat and grow vegetables.
I like being a policeman. I occasionally do something useful.
But they don't like you, Dangerous. You don't march to the same tune. When they look in the mirror, they want to see themselves, not you.
Yeah, all right.
However, keeping my ears open as I do, I've come across a little something that might cheer you up a bit.
A what?
A little job you might find interesting.
What sort of little job?
Missing person.
That's it, is it?
Being a detective, you might have noticed one of the dogs I exercise is a Yorkshire Terrier.
No.
This Yorkshire Terrier belongs to one Mrs. Sheila Harthog.
Does it really?
Mrs. Harthog belongs to the Apollo Dance Club, as does Mrs. Vera Dulcimon, whose husband is the one who's gone missing.
Right, let's stop there. How do you mean missing?
He went out in the middle of the night, and he hasn't been seen since.
How long ago was this?
4 weeks.
Then why hasn't she reported it, this Mrs. Dulcimer?
So what is Mrs. Harthog? Why hasn't she reported it?
Well, she's obviously not so worried about it as your friend Mrs. Hartog.
But the thing is, Mrs. Harthog is absolutely convinced that she is worried about it, for all she pretends she isn't. Which is why, when I happened to mention that I know a policeman with a kind heart...
You didn't say I'd look into it.
I did.
Wouldn't it have been better to ask me first?
On second thoughts, it would.
On first thoughts, it would.
All I said was you'd have a little word.
Oh, well then. How'd you just mention you know a policeman?
Well, you know me, a great love of conversation and no sense of shame.
Just remind me, will you? Why am I doing this?
Do you want me to come with you, give you a hand?
Don't come in, comrade.
Yes?
Mrs. Dulcimer,
Who should I say it is?
D.C. Davis, Willesden North.
Is she expecting you?
No, she isn't. But if she's in, I'd very much like a quick word. Unless it's inconvenient.
Sorry about that. You have to be so careful, don't you?
I'm afraid so, yeah.
Anyway, I'm Marilyn. I live downstairs.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we should have another bell fitted, I know, but I always answer it to save their legs. If I'm not here, they don't bother, so there's no point, really.
No.
I'll just pop up and tell her you're here.
Thanks.
Shall I tell her what it's about?
If you could just say I'd like a quick word. Thanks.
I don't live here.
No?
I'm her brother. Just pop round to say hello.
Would you like to go up?
Thanks.
It's the door with the boxing gloves.
Right.
In you come, then.
Mrs. Dulcimer?
Afraid so. Yes.
D.C. Davis, Willesden North.
Yes, so I understand. Sit yourself down, Atiki, will you, Constable? I've nearly got this one out. I'd offer you a drink, but I'm currently down to sherry, and you don't strike me as a sherry sort of person.
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Oh, look at that, look at that. One card short. Oh, not my lucky day. What is it? What's happened?
It'll be about him.
Not necessarily.
It will. It'll be about him.
Missing? Of course he's not missing. Who told you he was missing?
As I understand it, you haven't seen him for over a month.
Well, that doesn't mean to say he's missing, does it? Who said he was missing? I know who it was. It was that Sheila Hartog. That's who it was. Let me tell you something. If that woman didn't have something to gossip about, her lungs would collapse. Haven't you people got better things to do?
As a matter of fact, yes, Mrs. Dulsman.
I'm sorry, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, all right. I might have said I'm surprised how long he's been away. That's all. Usually he's back within the week.
How do you mean, usually?
What I'm saying is he's done it all our married life, and like a crazy woman, I put up with it.
Done what, Mrs. Dulsman?
I'm off now, Mrs. D. Is there anything I can get you?
No, thanks, Marilyn. Oh, tell you what. Bring me in some ciggies.
No, I shouldn't.
Pop in later. We'll have a little chat. Now, there's a girl with a lovely, lovely nature. Why couldn't she have a body to go with it? Tell me that, God.
So, about your husband, Mrs. Dulsman.
He's gone off with one of his bits of stuff. How do I know? I'll tell you how I know. Look out of the window. Go on. Look out of that window. Do you see a stupid great Bentley?
You mean the car?
Bentley, yes, motor car.
No.
No, because he's taken it with him. This stupid great Bentley he's had for years, and the only time he uses it is to impress the latest girlfriend. His age, you'd think he'd grow up, mind you. He is just like a child half the time. Who am I kidding? What man isn't? Me, me, me. And untrustworthy. Have you met him? No, of course you haven't. Hand me that photograph, will you? My mother was right. I mean, look at him. How could you trust a man with eyes like that? And when he grew his moustache, someone told him he looked like David Niven. He had his charm, I'll give him that. Still does. You're not a dancer, are you?
I stumble around a bit at weddings, that's about it.
I love it. Not this modern stuff. Real dancing, where the man takes you in his arms and guides you straight up to heaven.
So, what you're saying is, sorry, your husband isn't missing, and you're not worried about him?
No. I'm not worried, not in the slightest.
Thanks for your time. I'm glad everything's all right.
Oh, there is something now you're here.
Yes?
I forgot to ask Marilyn to go to the bottle bank for me. You don't go that way by any chance, do you?
The final revelation is that lying, the telling of beautiful, untrue things, is the proper aim of art. Haven't I always said that?
Thanks a bunch, Maud.
It didn't go well?
It didn't go anywhere. You've been misinformed.
Huh?
Ah.
So the husband hasn't disappeared then?
Apparently not.
And she isn't worried about him?
Her exact words, not in the slightest.
All right.
Right. Only like your friend Mrs. Hartog, I'm not quite sure I believe her.
You all right, Mrs. Dulcimer? Looking a bit pokey.
You're a very nice man, Ricky. Pick me up, same time as usual, all right? And the word's peaky.
Right.
How is everything?
Before you start, I came here for a quick step, not a conversation. You should be ashamed of yourself. And for your information, I received a telephone call from him not half an hour ago.
Take no notice. She's lying.
Well, that takes care of our pilfering postman. Good work, Dangerous. Yes, well done, top man.
Right then, I'm off unless...
No. You go and do whatever it is you do.
Walk the dog.
Oh, you're not still walking that dog, are you, Dangerous?
Well, you know, Sarge takes all sorts.
About time that dog of yours learned to stand on its own 4 feet. Get it?
I get it, yeah.
Good, eh?
Great.
Oh, dear. I forgot to tell him.
What's that?
His wife phoned. I'm expecting a visitor, so can you please make it tomorrow?
How embarrassing, eh, Gov?
I better dash down, eh? Mark his card.
Oh.
Hold on, what's that? What's that noise?
What noise?
That noise. Oh, no, it's nothing to worry about. Just the wind rushing between your ears. He's going to have enough trouble with me on his case. He doesn't want you two buggering up his own life.
He's already buggered up his own life.
Oh, and you think that's funny, do you, Darren? You think that is funny?
Hey.
Didn't you get my message?
What message?
I left a message asking you to make it tomorrow.
No, I didn't get it.
Yeah, well, if you say so.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, hold on, I'll fetch him.
Julie, if you rather...
Hold on, I'll fetch him.
Julie, whatever you're thinking, I didn't get the message.
No.
There you go.
All right.
Got the day wrong, that's all.
What I mean is that he is all right about us, is he?
Well, of course he is. Anyway, he's got no right not to be.
I mean, he's not liable to turn violent or anything.
Dangerous.
That's what I mean.
What is?
Dangerous.
Well, they call him that because he isn't dangerous. Dangerous Davis, the last detective. Dangerous because he isn't. The last detective because he's the last man they'd send out on anything important. I don't know, he puts up with it. Well, yeah, I do, actually. He's a stubborn bugger when he wants to be. No, he's an honest man with a sense of decency. How he passed the entrance exam, I'll never know. Should have been a missionary, in my opinion. Speaking of which...
Why is he then? A copper?
When he was a kid, he saw his dad mown down by a getaway car. From that moment, he vowed to uphold the law out there on those mean streets, no matter what the cost.
That is so commendable.
Well, yeah, it would be if it was true. He joined because of the sport, and because I like a man in uniform. The day he made CID was the day romance left our marriage. It's funny, isn't it? Really decent people seem to have the habit of bringing out the worst in the rest of us. That was most of our problem. That and the dog. Anyway, don't want to talk about him anymore. Oh, my God. It's Captain Fantastic.
No breakfast again, Mr. Davis.
Bit of a rush, Mrs. Fuljames.
A bowl of my homemade muesli and you'd approach the day in quite a different frame of mind, I'm sure of it.
You're absolutely right, I know you are.
Incidentally, I understand you're making inquiries about Vernon Dulcimer.
How do you know that?
Very difficult to keep anything sub judice at the Apollo.
You're a member, are you?
Oh, yes, it's great fun. And being an ex-soubrette, I like to keep my leg in, as it were. So if I can help you in any way.
Thanks.
And do try to remember, Mr. Davis, look after your stomach and your stomach will look after you.
Dulcimer.
Dulcimer.
Right. Looking for anything in particular?
No, just the usual. Hospitals, RTAs, usual.
Gone missing, has he?
Maybe. You all right?
Oh, just got another one on my nosebleeds. There you go. Nothing.
Thanks. What'd the doctor say?
He thinks it's psychosomatic. They always seem to come on when I've got to do something nasty.
You're in the right job, then.
How about you?
How about me what?
They still giving you a hard time?
Yeah, survive.
Turning in one of your own. It's a tough call.
What would you have done, Cheryl?
I don't know. I don't know.
Copper or not, he killed someone. What else is there to know?
This bloke that's gone missing, what's his name, is Dulcimer?
Something come in?
We've had a call from security at Heathrow. They were doing a routine check, found this Dulcimer's car.
How do you mean, Guff found it?
It was unlocked, and the keys were in it.
Right.
And his suitcase was in the boot.
Well, well.
And completely empty.
Empty?
Empty, yeah. I'll have the keys sent over for you.
Okay.
My pleasure.
She might be having a little nap. I'll just pop up and see, shall I?
Please.
Has something happened then?
No, just...
Well, perhaps you'd like to go through and take a seat, just in case.
Thanks.
I'll be going soon.
Uh-huh.
Now you've got to get back to work.
Mrs. Dulcimer? Someone to see you.
People say it's a strange choice of career for a young man undertaking. But I say it's like disc jockeys, you know. Where would we be without them?
Have you always been in the undertaking business?
No. Before I came to London, I worked at Perkins. You know, the pork pie people. When they sent me there from the job centre, they said I'd be working in the dispatch department. I thought they meant, you know, sending out the pork pies.
Oh, right.
As it happens, I quite like pigs, so...
Yeah.
Well... The only thing I could get after that local was the chicken processing plant. They said it'd be a piece of cake after the pigs, you know, chickens not being quite so human. But I said no thank you very much, you know, may as well go and join the army. You only have to kill something every now and again, don't you?
I suppose you do, really.
Yeah, she was just having a little nap. Anyway, if you want to go up. Excuse me. If you could try not to upset her. She's had a lot on her mind lately. Well, obviously.
Was that it, then? He'd have gone off abroad somewhere.
The thing is, Mrs. Dulcimer, I'm sure there's a reason, but I've got to be concerned about the car being unlocked and the keys in it.
That's typical of him. Typical. I tell you, the man's an idiot.
Even so.
You've got another version.
No, it's just...
You're right. He's been kidnapped. Don't let this fool you. This was Monte Carlo 20 years ago. Now, he's 65 years old, with a bus pass, a shirt collar that doesn't touch his neck, and 3 half-crowns in his pocket. Some kidnap. He was prettier when he had his own teeth. Listen, I know you're trying to do your job. Thank you, Sheila Hartog. But I know him. There's nothing to worry about, I promise you.
Just tell me what happened that night.
And you've got such a friendly face.
I'm a policeman, sorry.
Like, what is it you want to know?
Like, did he go off because that's what he did, or was there a reason?
We had a row. We're always having rows, arguments, disagreements, as you've no doubt been informed.
No.
We have what is called a tempestuous relationship, hence the boxing gloves. They were someone's witty wedding present. Oh, how we laughed on the night we were wed, and then we had a row. Truth is, we thrive on it. It does wonders for your sex life. At our age, yes, I know, sad, isn't it? You'd think we'd have given all that up. Nowadays, I have to admit, I prefer afternoon television. Anyway, that's his excuse, the swine.
So, that night, the night he went off, you had a row.
A stinker of a row, which he started, and we know why, don't we?
Do we?
Whenever he's got a bit of stuff lined up, he starts a row so that he can go off and consider the futility of our future together. So that's how it happened. We went to the club. We had more to drink than was good for us. We had a row. When I woke in the morning, I had a terrible hangover and a missing husband. Marilyn told me she saw him going off in his precious car with a suitcase. And here we are. Him gallivanting, and me being cross-examined. I mean, how fair can life be?
What I'd like to do, Mrs. Dulciman, is put some details on our computer, just in case.
Details?
Recent photograph, things like that.
Why do you want a photograph?
Just in case.
He used to do all his photography stuff in here. That's why we never moved downstairs. Oh, typical. Maybe there'll be some in the bureau. Oh, excuse me. I've got a head coming on. I get these heads. I have to lie down. Will you find what you want and excuse me?
Bye.
Nothing would have happened to him, will it? Will it?
Of course it won't. Of course not.
Silly old twerp. Wait till he gets back here, I'll give him what for.
He hasn't gone abroad or even intended to. His passport's still there.
You could have gone to Scotland. Mind you, if you're English, why would you bother?
I might take his Bentley to the airport. Why not get a minicab or something?
She said he likes to make a big impression.
And if he planned to go away...
Perhaps he wanted to spend the night with his girlfriend.
No, doesn't sit right. What about the empty suitcase?
What did his wife say?
About the case being empty. Couldn't bring myself to tell her. I don't know. Didn't want to worry her any more than I had to. There's something about her, like she's putting on a performance.
actually. It livens up later on.
Is this him?
That's him. Dapper Dulcimer.
Is that what they call him?
That's what I call him. What do you think's happened to him, then?
I'm not sure anything's happened to him.
Oh, I hope not. It would break her heart, I can tell you. Mind you, I can't think why. He's a bugger.
How do you mean?
Yeah, how do you mean?
I told you could only come if you don't butt in.
I got carried away.
I'm the detective, you walk dogs. Sorry, he's on work experience. It's a bit novel for him.
Shouldn't really be in here. You could frighten people.
This is my best shirt.
You were saying about Dulcimer.
Naughty with the ladies, and between you and me, right?
Right.
Between you and me, from what I hear, he owes a lot of people a lot of money.
Can you name names?
Not really, it's just what I hear. He's always short of the readies.
What, he gambles or something, does he?
No, I don't think so. I think he likes just to have money in his pocket. He had a big studio one time, you know. Something must have happened, I suppose.
Tell me about the last time he was here with his wife. They had a row or something.
Blimey, when didn't they have a row? That's what they do, see? One minute it's all lovey-dovey, next minute, wallop, the balloon goes up. We had to have your lot down here once. A couple of years ago. She was trying to part his hair with one of these stools, and he was trying to strangle her. This young copper turns up, Vera gives him a kiss, Dapper buys champagne all round, and a pair of them do an exhibition tango.
So, this night, they had a row, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Well, that's what they do. They have a dance, they have a row, they have a dance. Except
what?
Except she was drinking a lot. I mean, they both drink, always have done, and why not? Sod it, their age. Let them enjoy it how they want, right? But, just lately, she started really putting it away, and like, it's not drinking just to enjoy it, but you know, like there's something on her mind that she doesn't want to think about.
Something on her mind?
I hope it's nothing nasty, because she's a lovely lady, she really is. Wouldn't like to get on the wrong side of her mind, but she is. She's a gem.
How about him?
Dapper? Oh, I like him at all. How could you not, for all his flash? Wouldn't trust him, mind. Not many come here who would. In fact, there's one or two who'd say that vanishing was the best thing he ever did. Good afternoon, Mrs. Fulljames. Looking as lovely as ever, if I might say so.
He's such an old sprucer, Mr. Davis, he really is. How nice to see you here. Are you working, or can I persuade you to trip the light fantastic?
Well, actually, I'm, But my colleague here is very light on his feet, aren't you, Maud?
Pardon?
I met my husband during a first-rate tour of South Pacific. He was playing a non-speaking Matalo, and I was understudying Bloody Mary. Oh, yes. Happy days. Happy, innocent days. That's why I named my little establishment Valley High, of course. Actually, you're quite well coordinated.
I've got a Michael Flatley video.
Oh. I knew you'd had instruction of some sort.
Thank you.
They said there'd be new blood. How delightful.
Actually, I'm under doctor's orders.
Don't worry, dear. I know why you're here. Sheila Hartog.
Oh, Mrs. Hartog, how do you do? I was hoping to have a word with you.
Of course you were, but not this afternoon, eh? This afternoon's for dancing.
No, honestly, I can't dance.
Doesn't matter, dear. Just as long as I've got something manly to get hold of.
This and this.
Oh, I like the ring. Nice and discreet. What's this on it? A family crest?
Yeah, cross tap shoes over a pensioner rampant.
And he's got a Bentley, you say? I think I love him.
I know she does.
I've been working late, and Eric, my brother, he gave me a lift home. He's very good like that. You know, he looks after me. Anyway, we came in, we were having a little sandwich, and we heard, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Dulcimer.
Having an argument,
Yes.
which didn't surprise you.
No.
And then?
And then I heard a car door slamming. And I knew it was him. It's funny that, but you do, don't you? And then I took a peep out of the window, and he was just driving off. So I went upstairs to see if she was all right, and she was fast asleep on top of the bed. Well, they have been drinking quite a lot by the sound of it. Anyway, I undressed her, got her into the bed, and that was it, really.
Last time I was at the house, you said, try not to upset her, she's got a lot on her mind. Mrs. Dulcimer. What do you mean by that?
Well, Mr. Dulcimer.
Only I got the feeling you might have meant something else. Apart from him, I mean.
She won't thank me for telling you this. I'd be really grateful if you didn't mention that I have told you. She hasn't been very well lately. She's on some medication that makes her very much up and down all the time, and sometimes she doesn't quite know what she's saying. Someone like her, someone who's usually so, well, together, must be really upsetting.
You're very fond of her, aren't you?
I am, yes. She's been very, very kind to me.
In what way?
Well, in every way, really. I hadn't been in London long when I saw their advert and I moved into the flat, and she really couldn't have been nicer to me. Well, people think when you're young you've always got lots of friends and lots of things to do, but it's not always true. Not for me, it wasn't anyway. But she always managed to take me out of myself. If she saw I was feeling a bit down, she'd say, "Come on, Marilyn, we're going to go for a little walk up Bond Street, do some window shopping, decide what we're going to treat ourselves to if we win the lottery." And then she'd order a cab and we'd do our window shopping, and then we got a Fortnum's for tea. It's all her treat. Well, she's lovely.
And Mr. Dulcimer?
It's different with a man. And no disrespect, but he never struck me as being very sincere.
I was told he's got money problems.
I wouldn't know about that. I know they've come down in the world. Well, it's like the house, having to rent out half the house. He still keeps his silly great car, though, doesn't he? Yeah, still. Other people's lives always seem a bit peculiar, don't they? Not the way you'd live yourself. Your job, you must think that all the time.
What goes on in other people's minds? Yeah. Yeah, still surprises me. I didn't think it would anymore, but yeah, it does. Thanks. I'll drive you home, shall I? You said he was just driving off. Sorry.
Sorry?
You said you looked out of the window and he was just driving off.
Oh, yes.
So you didn't actually see him put the suitcase in the car?
No.
Oh.
Why?
Mrs. Dulcimer said you'd seen him taking it to the car. Well, perhaps that's just what I thought she said. Sorry. Anyway, he was lucky he was never pulled over or had an accident, being as drunk as everyone said he was, driving a car that size. Mind you, from what I hear, he was the sort of man who could get away with anything. Here we are.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Good night.
Goodbye.
The Philippines, I said to him, excuse me, my itinerary is strictly between myself and my travel agent. I know, one dance and they think they own you. Anyway, I must go, Virginia. I'll give you an update tomorrow. Ah, there you are, Mr. Davis.
Good evening, Mrs. Hall, James. What's on the menu tonight? I'm really hungry.
It's free-range pork with an organic cider sauce, followed by Anthony Worrell Thompson's bread and butter pudding. And it's very nice, isn't it, Mr. Kaniewski?
I'll just,
How are your inquiries coming along?
Okay, I think, yeah. Okay.
I expect you're finding out who's a great ladies' man, Vernon. Still is. Although probably not in the bedroom department. Mind you, who knows nowadays? Gone are the days of if only youth knew, if only age could. Wouldn't you say? Not with all these pharmaceuticals so readily available. But even then, there's not a guarantee in the packet. So I'm told. What he's got, you see, Vernon, what he's always had, is the ability to make a woman feel good. The most important person in the world. And we all need to feel that at one time or another, don't we? And then, who knows where it might lead? I'm being frank, you understand, because I feel it might help you.
Yes, thank you. Did he make you feel good, Mrs. Full-James?
Did he beguile me into an indiscretion? Mr. Davis, how could you?
I'll just...
He loved my legs, you know. I have, for a woman of my age, very good legs. Well now, Mr. Kaniewski, how would you like some coffee?
What do you think?
Very nice.
Not too sweet.
No, very nice.
Got my grandchildren coming for the weekend. Their mother thinks I use too much sugar, but you don't think so.
No.
No, neither do I. Mind you, she thinks I use too much everything. Do you mind if I carry on while we talk? I'm getting behind. Oh, have as many as you like. I've got plenty. So, what do you want to know?
Tell me about Mr. Dulcimer.
Like what?
Like whatever you want to tell me.
Well, I've known him, 35, 36 years. My God, that's right, 36 years. He was a photographer, you know, society weddings, social events, Ascot, that sort of thing. He was well known. Not a celebrity, the way these photographers are today, but then who is? You point a brownie or boil an egg and you're in hello. And will you stop staring at people? You make them uncomfortable. My son gave him to me when my husband passed away. He thought he'd be company. Which you are. And if you could foxtrot, we'd make a lovely couple. But I hate walking. Dancing, yes. Walking, no. Which is how come I pay your friend Maud to take him round the park. Maud? What is Maud? I'm afraid to ask.
Short for modesty.
Modesty?
He was named after Tchaikovsky's brother.
Who else? Tell me, does he have a girlfriend? I worry about him.
Maud? Oh, yeah. Well, no one regular, but yeah. You know, when he, you know.
I think he needs a nice, steady girlfriend.
The thing is, you see, he doesn't think it's fair to ask a woman to share his regime of study and contemplation.
You just made that up.
No, he wrote it down for me.
He knew I'd ask.
He had an idea.
He's not as simple as he looks.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. So, you can say you know him well, then, Mr. Dulcimer.
The thing about Vernon is never to believe a word he says. He's a liar. He can't help it. Like all good con men, he's full of charm. You want to believe him.
Con men?
Maybe con's too strong a word. You always know when he's after something.
Like money?
Like money, and the other.
When you say the other...
I mean, the other.
And that's from...
Personal experience, yes.
Oh, right.
I'm talking some time ago.
Right.
Before I looked like I was stuffed with goose feathers.
No, you're...
Vernon was always into thin. Luckily, my husband, God rest him, was into comfort. Look at your face. You're like my son. mention me and sex in the same sentence, he has to go into another room. If he looked in my underwear drawer, he'd have a heart attack. You grow old on the outside, that's all, on the outside. Everyone knows it, no one ever believes it till it happens. Which is why I say, Joan Collins, I love you.
What do you think's happened to him, Mrs. Hartog?
I don't know, but I'm worried about him. More to the point, I know she's worried about him. Listen, the reason I'm so concerned is that I feel responsible for their relationship. The Dulcimans. It was me he wanted to marry. But what he had in mind was a woman he could go 10 rounds with every day, and that wasn't me. So I turned him down and they got together, and they couldn't have been more right for each other. And I know for all his carryings on, they still love each other like crazy, which I envy. I really envy. But you see, and for God's sake, don't tell her this, he still talks to me, he still confides in me. Like when they discovered she couldn't have children. He was devastated. Things like that, things that really matter, that can destroy people.
Thanks.
My pleasure. Because if you don't mind me saying so, you look like a man who needs to treat himself every now and again. This is one of his. Me, when we first met. Miss Complacency, 1900 and mind your own business.
I won't say I've spoken to you.
Why should a senior citizen be like a good detective?
Why should what?
Humour me, just say why.
Why?
Because what you do is, you don't give up. Excuse me, that dog's at the biscuits, I know it is.
You told Mrs. Hartog your husband phoned you.
Is that what she said?
Did you tell her that, Mrs. Dulceman?
Yes, he did. Yes.
4 days ago.
4, 5.
Where from?
Where from?
Where was he phoning from?
San Remo. He loved San Remo. Myself, I think it's gone down the pan.
He had no passport.
He could talk his way out of anything.
Mrs. Dulceman, your husband's been gone over 5 weeks. I really think we should start thinking of him as having gone missing.
I told you, he phoned.
I'd like to have a look at his papers.
His what?
I'd like to have a look at his papers. I had a shifty at his last month's bank statements. No withdrawals of any size. Nothing on his credit cards either. And he'd left his pension book behind. If he's living off someone else.
Or he could have money elsewhere.
And she knows more than she's telling, I'm certain of it.
Have you looked in the cupboard? Maybe she's murdered him for the insurance.
There is no insurance. It's all been cashed in. There's something she's not letting on. There's got to be a reason.
The croquet matches in summer, the handshake, the cough, the kiss. There's always a wicked secret, a private reason for this. W.H. Jordan.
Which reminds me, a little present for you.
Moisturising cream?
Celibacy is bad for the skin. Sheila Hartog. Don't ask. I'm just the messenger.
Davies?
Go.
Mr. Pugh called.
Pugh? Oh, right, Mr. Pugh.
Yes, it's got something might be of use to you.
Thanks.
Wouldn't be anything to do with gorgeous George here, would it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is, as it happens.
Peppermint? Go on, my treat. Have a peppermint.
No, thanks, go.
No, you're quite right. They're horrible. You know why I chew these things, Dave? It's because of the bellyache I get from the man upstairs. I have to sit there listening, wondering who does his nails, while he's chuntering on about how I run my department. His concern being, after that last business, that perhaps my finger isn't quite where it should be, i.e. firmly on the pulse. My point being?
Your point being, keep you informed, Gov.
Because you wouldn't want to make me look like a mug again, would you, Dangerous? No. No, of course you wouldn't.
I like to do my ablutions in here. It's cheaper. I only got a room, see? And I like to keep down on the electric. Don't mind if I carry on, do you? We got a function.
You said you might have something for me.
It just occurred to me, when I first come here, Dapper used to be as thick as thieves with that, what's his name? Arthur Travis. You probably got him on your books. Into all sorts of dodges in his time, so I hear.
Rings a bell, yeah. And?
A couple of nights before Dapper did his disappearing act, I was putting some chairs away. And I saw the pair of them in the hallway there, having a right old ding-dong they were. Not just an argument, you know, really unpleasant. Anyway, they see me looking, and Travis just leaves. What's that all about, Mr. Dulcimer, I said?
Mum's the word, Anthony. Lovers' quarrel.
And he winks and bowls inside like nothing has happened.
Thanks.
Be about money, I shouldn't wonder. Mind you, what is it nowadays?
I'll let you get on with your ablutions.
You, don't know where I can get rid of an unwanted tattoo, do you?
You could always try loot.
Dulcimer. Mrs. Dulcimer. Mrs. Dulcimer.
When did I last see Vernon? Goodness gracious me. You know, Mr. Davis, I can't remember. Why, has something happened to him?
How about 6 weeks ago?
6 weeks ago what?
6 weeks ago, the two of you were seen at the Apollo.
You're right, you're right. Well, far be it from me, but if you know, why ask?
I asked, when did you last see him?
You did, you're quite right. Then.
What was the argument about?
Argument?
You were having an argument.
Were we?
Don't piss me about, Mr. Travis.
Not an argument. Not like it's like an argument. Dearie, dearie me. Who's been telling you all this?
Like a what, then?
He was drunk. Stinking. I wasn't, of course. I was driving.
What were you arguing about?
We were talking.
What were you talking about?
What do old friends usually talk about? Anything? Everything? We'd gone out. I'd given him a nice lunch. He'd had too much to drink. And drink makes him very, very argumentative. What are you trying to make of this?
What was your connection with him?
What was my what?
Just social, was it?
Social, yes.
You didn't do any sort of business with him?
What sort of business would I do with Vern?
You tell me, Mr. Travis. You've been into all sorts of business, haven't you?
You trying to stick something on me?
Why would I do that?
You're trying to stick something on me.
I won't keep you. You've got a customer. You have a think about what we've been saying, and I'll go back and run a check on all your engine and chassis numbers. How's that?
You're not a nice man, are you, Mr. Davis?
If I was, I'd be selling cars, wouldn't I?
I hadn't seen him for over a year. He rings me out of the blue, says he wants to see me. Okay, why not? He's an old friend. Turns out he wants to borrow some money, a lot of money. And we all know what borrow means in his case, don't we? So I say no. It turns nasty. He starts threatening me, by which time I've just about had enough. And so out he went.
Threatening you with what?
It's pathetic.
With what?
It's so pathetic, I can tell you.
With what?
About 10 years ago, he came to me with a business proposition. You know, he was a photographer. Vernon of Edgware already. Anyway, he had this secret little sideline he was looking to expand. And he needs some financial input. You can see where I'm going.
Pornography.
I'm not interested, I said, which I wasn't. And he says, hold on, hold on. And he shows me these photographs. And yes, I had to agree. Maybe there was a gap in the market.
But not for you to fill.
I allowed myself to be persuaded. Soft porn. Who'd raise an eyebrow these days, let alone anything else? Anyway, we ran it for about a year and it all folded, taking my little bit of money with it.
And what he was threatening you with was exposing all this, is that it?
If you pardon the expression, yeah, that was the idea. As I say, it's pathetic. Nobody gives a damn nowadays. Not even you. Hmm?
What did he want the money for, did he say?
To take his wife on a world cruise. Straight up. I mean, as if. No, he's got some debt collector on his back. Poor old Vernon, eh? Old Crombie overcoat and no white fronts.
Davis?
You're early, but I won't mention it.
Anthony phoned me from the club.
Take that look off your face, or I call the nurse.
Sorry.
And where are the grapes?
They said no grapes.
They said I'd only lived 3 months. What do they know? When I first came to the oncology place, I thought, in and out, 10 minutes. How many of us can there be? I go through the door, and I can't get a seat. Elderly ladies, strong-looking young men, children of 2 years old. This thing has no taste, you see, no discrimination. And you stop thinking, why me? And you start thinking, 2 years old, why them, for God's sake? That's on a good day. On a bad day, I'm a self-pitying cow. You wouldn't want to know me. You can tell me all the terrible things they've been saying about him, aren't you?
No.
His money trouble. All these silly women he makes feel good for a week or so.
No.
I knew what he was like when I met him. I knew the goods were damaged when I signed the receipt. Do you know what he does? He surprises me all the time. Do you know what he isn't? He isn't mean. Meanness is so unattractive, and Vernon doesn't know the meaning of the word. So he gives me a wonderful time. I don't mean smart hotels or holidays or fancy restaurants, although when he's got it, we do that too. No, I mean here. He gives me a wonderful time here, where it really matters. But he can't stand illness. Never could. You should see him trying to swallow an aspirin. If he saw me like this, he'd jump out the window.
Are you saying he doesn't know?
Couldn't cope. Wouldn't know what to do. And why should we both have to put up with it?
Mrs. Dulcimer, these arguments you have...
You ought to be a detective. When I know I have to come in for treatment, I start an argument.
Knowing he'll...
Go away to consider our future. It's what we do. 30 years, what can I tell you? It works.
So, when he tells you he's going away with another woman...
Do I believe him? Why not, if it makes him happy? And even if there was this younger woman he keeps threatening me with, let me tell you a story. We've got this friend, a widower, 70 years old, and he meets this 40-year-old woman. He marries her. For 2 months, he thinks he's in heaven. Then he leaves her. He leaves her. And when we ask him why, he says, she didn't know the tunes. I like that. I really like that.
They brought in a D&D last night. Apparently he'd been trying to kill himself. We took his stuff away, and that was in his pocket.
How was he trying to kill himself?
Jumped off the bridge at Horsenden.
It's only about 10 feet high.
He said he got it wrong. He thought there was a river.
Oh, no. Hello, Eric. Where did this come from?
I found it.
I don't believe you.
I want to see my sister.
You don't need a solicitor.
My sister. Said I want to see my sister.
No one had ever said nice things to me before. To them, I was just a lump. He said he could show me how beautiful I was. And then he did this to me. Fat girls for people to laugh at. I hated him.
You killed him, didn't you, Marilyn?
No,
You and your brother.
no,
You killed him and you've hidden the body.
no.
Mrs. Dulcimer fell asleep drunk, and he came down to
He
you.
never ever touched me. It was just the photographs he wanted.
Then why did you kill him?
I didn't kill him.
Someone killed him, didn't they, Marilyn?
I don't know.
But you do, I know you do.
No.
You know because it was you.
No.
Then who was it?
She killed him. It's all gone wrong. Just tell him.
It was Mrs. Dulcimer.
Mrs. Dulcimer killed him.
But she doesn't know, you see. I didn't want her to know. I only found out how ill she was by accident. I saw her in oncology. It's in the pancreas and there's nothing they can do about it. She asked me not to say anything. Not to anybody. But I said, what about Mr. Dulcimer? You've told him, haven't you? You must tell him. And she said no. And she wasn't going to, and neither must I. We heard them come in. They were very drunk. She shouldn't drink. Not with her medication. It does bad things to her head. But how can you... I was a bit worried because they were still yelling and screaming at each other, but they hadn't gone into the flat. So I went into the hallway to see what was happening. I looked up the stairs, and he was shouting something like, well, that's it, I'm not sleeping here tonight. And she shouted, well, and a bloody good job too. And she swung her bag, and it hit him on the side of the head. And then she went into the flat, slamming the door, and just leaving him there. He stood there, holding his head. And then he looked at his hand, and I could see there was blood on it. She must have caught him with the metal bit. And then he went a bit dizzy. And he tried to grab hold of the banister, but fell down the stairs. I tried to do something, but he was already dead. I think his neck was broken. Eric wanted to phone the police, didn't you, Eric? But all I could think of was what it would do to that woman. I couldn't bear the thought of her living out what little life she had left, knowing what she'd done. She didn't deserve that. Not for him, she didn't.
Where is he, Marilyn?
Eric got the little van and took him round to where he works. There was a little old lady going to be cremated the next day, and it was Eric's job to look after the coffin.
Are you saying you put his body in her coffin?
There was nothing of her. No relatives. No one would have known.
But before you put him in, you took his gold ring.
I am sorry. I took it out of force of habit. It's like one of those little perks you get sometimes. I was too frightened to do anything with it. I just carried it around in my handkerchief.
Whose idea was the airport?
Mine.
The needle in the haystack?
Yeah.
And you left the keys?
I panicked. I am so very sorry.
In the coffin?
In the coffin.
So no proof of anything?
No, but I believe them.
Oh, well, if you believe them. Mind you, what would she have been done with anyway? Manslaughter the most, and even then.
It's all she'd have to go through. All the questions, the inquest.
Yeah. Well, that Marilyn will have to be done.
She knows that.
Her and her brother. Disposing of the body, etc.
They know.
Bloody idiots. What were they thinking of?
Anyway, Gov, there it is. Over to you.
How long has she got?
I reckon no more than a month at the most.
And how long will it take you to get a case together? No, don't answer that. Bugger off.
Why didn't you tell me, you silly person?
Tell you, tell the world. I know. He talks to you, you know.
I'm the port he hides in from the storm. That's all.
Huh?
I shouldn't tell you this.
See what I mean?
I shouldn't tell you this. But he's planning a long holiday. To when you're better.
Is that right?
He's taking you on a world tour. I said, how do you know she wants to go on a world tour? Maybe she wants to go somewhere else.
Listen.
I'm listening.
Doesn't matter.
He knew.
You think?
I'm sure of it. And she knew he knew.
You're not saying she knew what sort of man he really was?
I don't think it would have made any difference. She loves him. Why is that so hard to say without feeling soppy?
The games people play, eh, Dangerous?
I love you. I love you.
The games people play?
Like Julie and me?
Or like Caroline and me?
Who's Caroline?
She says she's a dental hygienist, but I'm not sure I believe her.
Right. Thanks for a pint.
Tell you what.
What's that?
I really enjoyed that dancing stuff.
Yeah, must admit I did.
Slow, slow, quick, 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 slow.
No, quick, quick. Slow, slow, quick, quick, slow.
You sure?
Of course I'm sure. I once took a statement from Victor Sylvester Jr.
Then I think he misinformed you.
Come here.
What are you doing?
I'm demonstrating.
That wasn't me, you're not.
Oh, don't be daft. Who's watching?
All right, all right. Why can't I be the man?
Shut up and start humming. Slow, slow, quick, quick, slow.
You're right.
What's all right?
Slow,
slow, quick, quick,
quick, slow.
No.
It's quick, quick, quick,
no,
slow.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You're wrong.
Slow, quick, 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 slow.
You're wrong.
Right.
You're wrong.
Slow, slow, quick, 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 slow.
I want to report a murder. I won't mention your nose.
What did happen to your nose?
We're being followed. Don't turn around.
The descriptions you gave us are minimal.
Can't you ever stop being a copper? It's not even as if you're a very good one. You can tell your inspector that a free ride home really isn't going to get me off his back.
Don't get too clever, Constable. You've got a lot of ground to make up.